bringing it to you on a Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to continue our 4-part series on college housing. There we go. See, that's why I don't like to edit, because those are genuine moments. College housing, and it's our playlist, college housing. And last time we talked about the pros and cons about living on campus, and today we're going to talk about the pros and cons about living off campus. And I even did a follow-up, as you'll see in my social media this coming week. Today's November 1st, so this will air this coming Sunday, which I believe is around the 3rd, 4th, about the 6th, I think, something like that. And it will air after. So, and I actually go to an actual campus, the one that's right by my house, and I'll show you actual off-campus housing just from the facade, and re-emphasize these points. So let's go to it. All right, so here we go. Living off campus, the pros and cons. Because you can live in some type of housing like that, like an actual house, a cottage, sometimes, or a house, or sometimes a building, as I'll show you guys on my social media this coming week. And you can actually hang out with your closest friends, such as I took a little thing from Canva over here, and that's what I wanted to emphasize as my little springboard to living off campus, pros and cons. And I got 8 of them, if my brain serves me right. Here we go. All right, so the first pro to living off campus, there's definitely more privacy. You definitely, people are not going to watch what you're doing. You can get home whenever you want. In other words, there's not going to be like an RA or RD, resident director, resident assistant kind of check in and say, hey, do you have alcohol there? Not that we're advocating it, not that we're advocating drugs, but this is a reality of a college student, and sometimes that may occur. So definitely there is more privacy for you to do what you got to do. And the con is definitely you may have to sign a 1-year lease. And I'll reemphasize that it's a negative later on too with that 1-year lease. 1 year referring to 12 months. Remember, you're in school roughly here in the United States, roughly from the end of August till roughly the middle of December. Then again, roughly the middle of January to roughly the end of April, mid-May. And then the rest of the time, the rest of the year, you are off. So unless you're taking summer classes, that could pose a problem for your pocket, because they don't care if you're not there. You got to pay your rent. All right, continuing with the pros and cons, the pluses and minuses of living off campus. A pro is you get to choose your roommates, or roommates. Again, that sort of little cartoon here of, hey, good times, I'm celebrating, I'm here with my bestest of friends. That's not even a word, best of friends. But a negative is definitely you have to pay utility bills. And I'm glad I found this particular thing on Canva here. You notice here, payment of utility bills can definitely include electricity, heating, especially if you, and a good part of the United States, you're gonna have to pay a heating bill. Especially like roughly now, November, until roughly probably beginning of April. So that could really pose some issues for heating. Water, your water bill, you may like to take long showers. And so that could definitely start adding up. And your garbage collection, garbage doesn't just get picked up to get picked up. So utility bills can definitely be a negative when you live off campus. Continuing here, number 3. A pro about living off campus. You do not have to eat campus cafeteria food every day. To me, that would be a con, because I like cafeteria food. But a lot of people don't like this kind of cafeteria. I love it, but I mean, a lot of people don't. So that is definitely a pro for many people, because you're going to be like, and you can actually, most of the time, cook your own meals, and that could definitely go a long way and make you happy. So that's a pro about living off campus. A con, or a negative, is you have to travel to campus to use the library or to meet with professors. For some places, like I'll show you on my social media next week, sometimes the off-campus housing is literally across the street or across the highway, as I'll show you. Sometimes it could be far away. It could be up to a mile away or more. So it may be something you'd be like, man, I don't feel like getting into my bike or my little scooter or my car, or man. So that could definitely be a negative of traveling, because sometimes it's not always so beautiful outside. It's raining, it's snowing, there's an ice storm going on, it's cold, it's awfully hot. So that could definitely be a negative. Rolling along, number 4 is a positive to living off campus. And again, this is for college housing. This is my second part in my 4-part series of college housing to begin with. Number 4 pro, a positive, is there aren't so many rules to follow because those rules can get heavy. You may have to be home at a certain time. You may not be able to have alcohol. You may not be able to have a female or whatever, or male or whatever you like guests stay over. You may be, well, I love her, I love him, I want to do whatever I got to do, and they may like, I don't think so. So you may find those rules to be heavy. Con is if you travel on campus for a study group, you may have to carry all your books and supplies. Now you would say, well, that's kind of ridiculous, but it can get a little heavy. Maybe your calculator, your computers, your books, your whatever it is that you got. That's why I took a picture of this. Your notebooks, your pens, and you're like, oh, I forgot something. Then you got to go all the way back, and then you got to go all the way back to the campus. And so it can get a little tedious and a little bit of a hardship if you live off campus. I do love how my dogs are so cooperative and not like barking or wondering what I'm doing. So kudos to my doggies. Number 5, as they flap their ears. Number 5 on a pro why you want to live off campus. It is a good experience of living on your own. Most times, not always, but most times it is your first chance at, I don't think this is a word, but of adulting. You a first time, or you're not living with mom or dad or guardian, and you can start to see what it really takes to live on your own. And you may be, hey, look, I did all right. So it's definitely a good experience of living on your own. A con is that you may have to pay a security deposit before you move in. The security deposit, for those people who are young and watching this, security deposit can be up to 2 months rent. So let's say you move in now, the month of November 2022. You may have to pay last month, which is October. You may have to pay the last month that you're there and the current month of November. So you have to pay 3 months security deposit just to get in. So let's say for fun your rent is $1,000. You have to pay $3,000 just to get your foot in the door. However, in that said, off-campus housing, your Wi-Fi can be phenomenal and you can control your own Wi-Fi. I know Wi-Fi is a really, really, really big deal among young people. I sound like I'm 3,000 years old, but you know what I'm talking about, oh, young people of the earth. If you have your own Wi-Fi, you don't have to worry about the school's Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about anything else. It is yours. It is yours to control. The private homes or buildings, as I'll show you on my social media building, share more amenities than dorms have. I meant to put have, sorry, didn't put a space there. Have more amenities than dorms. You could have your own place where you could work out. You don't have to go traveling and looking around for it. You definitely have your own washer and dryer. You could have your own stove. You could have your own microwave. You're gonna have your own fridge. I mean, it's a whole bunch of big things that honestly, that is a really big, that to me, that's one of the biggest pros about living off campus. You have control over all that stuff like Wi-Fi and a gym, and you might even have a dishwasher. That's a really, really big pro. However, in the same thing, you may have more cleaning responsibilities. You may have to put on your gloves and start cleaning things like the toilet. You may have to start, because as I mentioned last time, a lot of these campuses do have community bathrooms, and those community bathrooms will be clean. You're gonna have to clean your own bathroom. You have to clean your own house. You're gonna have to clean the common area. You're gonna have to make sure that all this stuff is clean, and you're gonna be, I don't want to do that, and that can be a real negative. Alright, as we go along here with the pros and cons, the positives and negatives about living off campus on college housing playlist. Number 7 pro is you have more space to yourself, which is really good because you get to know yourself a little bit better. You get to really treat yourself a little bit better because it's really your place. I mean, no mom and dad, and there's no RAs, no RDs, there's no things that you are really on your own, and you get to really learn more about you. And that honestly is a very good thing because it's amazing what you get to find out about who you are when you have your own space and it's yours, and it has nothing to do with the school. But the con is sometimes it is difficult to make friends if you don't spend a lot of time on campus. You may take a lot of classes online. You may just go to class and then go to work. And if you're just kind of coming and going, you may say, well, I have a lot of friends to begin with. honestly, the friends that you make in college, and I know people say this all the time, but truth, it really is true. The friends that you make in college usually are the ones you keep for life. And so you really don't want to shortchange that experience, because these really, I mean, yeah, you keep your high school friends, grammar school friends. Yeah, you're going to make friends at work. Yeah, and all that, and online, yeah. But the ones that you meet in college, more often than not, they're the keepers. So you definitely don't want to shortchange that experience. All right, and last but not least, positives and negatives about living off campus. The pro is paying bills helps to build your credit. I know, for example, there's the girl who actually dog sits when my wife and I go away. She's a college student. Her credit is not good because she lives at home with her dad. She goes to college, but she lives at home, and because she's not really paying many bills, her credit line is not too good. Why? Because the more stuff that you buy, and the more stuff that you put on credit, and then you pay your bills and whatever, it actually builds your credit, as weird as that sounds. So by you living off campus, you are definitely building your credit. Now, remember I had mentioned before that you're probably a negative is that you're probably gonna have to lease that apartment for the entire calendar year. Now this is the last thing, and as I really want to harp on it, since I brought it in the beginning, and now I'm going to bring it here at the end. You may need to have someone to sublet, or you may have to rent out. That's what sublet is. Rent out your apartment during the summer, or even during that month. Sometimes you have a month off at Christmas time, and you're gonna have to start calling people and figuring it out. And is anybody home? And oh my God, they're gonna wreck the place. Because at the end of the day, even if you sublet that apartment, you rent it out to somebody else, you are responsible because your name is on the lease. So if somebody wrecks that apartment, guess whose fault it is? Oh, but they did it. Doesn't matter. You're the one on that lease. So that's why that is really, really important. And you really, really have to make sure about if you want to live off campus. And there we go. There's part 2 of college housing. Because initially I couldn't remember. It was like, college what? So that's college housing is really important, and I think besides these 4 parts, this is part 2. I think I'm going to emphasize a little bit more, because I think it's something I never got to do, to be honest, and it's something I really harp on with the kids I volunteer with, as you saw my college fair. I really want them to go away. I want you guys who are watching this to go away too, because the reality is it really does give you a chance to grow up, whether you live on campus, whether you live off campus. I love my mom and dad. They're in heaven now, but it did take me a lot longer to grow up because I was under their jurisdiction, which I get. And so this is why I'm posing this thing to you in college housing, and I hope you enjoyed this, positive and negatives about living off campus.